You said that Portia spent hours alone at the spa. How often did she do that?
Just about every day. You know, there were times I started to believe that place might be some sort of front.
A front?
Yeah, you know, for money laundering. Portia was convinced, and she was keeping her own records. She told me that place wasn't making a dime.
Did anyone else know Portia was keeping financial records?
I think she might have mentioned it to a boss, which seemed like the wrong guy to talk to about it, but she trusted him. At least she did. But after she talked to him, she got all paranoid. Ended up hiding all the papers in the broiler drawer. I thought she was just high. Hey, you guys looking at him for this?
Thanks for sticking around.
No problem. I'll be waiting.
Hi. Sorry, I was shaving. Cut myself. What can I do for you?
Portia Weissman owned a firefighting tool. She kept it at the spa for security. Have you seen it?
No. She had some kind of weapon at the spa? Well, that's totally against company policy.
We'll be back.
Looking forward to it.
Good catch. That should contain a workable sample of his DNA. Pete Baja's DNA, ready for processing. Baja was in Portia Weissman's apartment, even though he told us he'd never been there.
How's the arson case? Is your decorated fireman still a prime suspect?
I'm not so sure now. He's got an answer for everything. And what I thought was the best evidence we had against him, his firefighting tool, well, it doesn't actually provide us with anything conclusive. On top of that, the spa's owner, Pete Baja, lied to us about never visiting the victim's apartment.
All right. Well, talk to Brass. See if he can help you take a closer look at this, Mr. Baja.
All right. You're down here already. I was just going to call you. This is Special Agent Gene Huntby of the FBI. It seems your case may be crossing into his jurisdiction. Agent Huntby, why don't I let you explain the situation to them?
Thank you, Captain Brass. It's my understanding your prime suspect in the arson fire at the Super La Spa is Pedro Baja. Is my information correct?
We're looking at him for the arson and a homicide. A young woman by the name of Portia Weissman died in the fire.
Is that right? Well, let me explain why I'm here. Are you familiar with La Reina de la Colmena? Unfortunately, as a member of law enforcement, you should be. In Spanish, it means the Queen of the Hive, and it's the alias for a woman named Beatriz Salazar, now the most dangerous drug lord in Mexico. We believe Pedro Baja was in her employ.
Okay. So is this the part where you tell us to back off Mr. Baja and let you do your job?
No, Ms. Seidel, not at all. I want you to get your man. I want you to get him so bad he'll have no choice but to cut a deal. You see, in the entire universe of La Reina de la Colmena's drug trafficking operation, Baja's just a satellite, a small-time money launderer through those little shops of his. But for some reason, we have him on wiretaps in direct communication with Salazar. The taps themselves are useless because Baja and Salazar communicate in code, referring to things like family, weather, whatever. But why she's talking to him directly instead of through an intermediary, I have no idea. But it's that direct connection that means, if we can bring down Baja, then we have our best shot yet at taking down the Queen of the Hive herself.
Agent Huntby has requested the opportunity to keep tabs on us for a while, and run this one as a joint jurisdiction.
You do your thing, I'll do mine.
Based on what evidence? I was there when Baja said he'd never been in Portia Weissman's apartment. His DNA in that apartment will get you your warrant. Mr. Baja, Las Vegas police, open up. Looks like he's not here. Guess we'll have to execute the warrant without him. Score 1 for the lockpick gun. Always cleaner than breaking out the battering ram.
It looks like an empty financial or legal portfolio with the spa's logo on it. Those records we found in the Vic's oven are just the kind you'd keep in a binder like this. Vegan blueberry muffins. They look almost edible and flammable. Hold on. Remember, we're looking for evidence which relates to the arson and homicide at the spa, as well as the break-in at the victim's apartment. I'm not sure how a hard drive is relevant. These tax forms claim that Superla Spa was highly profitable. You can tell a lot about a person from the kind of shoes they wear. You can tell a lot more if you forensically examine their shoes. That looks just like the tool we got from Reed. These shears are made for cutting pipes, and we have a severed gas line to account for. That's a pretty full print. Good clarity on the sample, too. I wonder why they need so much acetone. Place is a little too masculine for manicures. Look at how the imperfections on the blade match up to the markings on the gas line. These shears were used to cut that gas line. Each side of the tool matches one of the distinct shapes ventilating the spa's drywall. Brian Reed's Denver tool is just as likely to have been used to help spread the fire as the tool we recovered from the barber shop. The tool from the barber shop could have been used to break into Portia's apartment. Like some kind of dried mud. That's just where someone would hold a shoe when putting it on. I would expect that to be Pete Baja's fingerprint, since we found the ledger in his office. That could tell us who handled this tool. Portia Weissman used this tool. It might be the one Brian Reed told us she was keeping at the spa. Portia kept her Denver tool at the spa, right where Pete Baja could have easily taken it. It wasn't Baja's fingerprint, but why would he have a ledger with Portia's prints on it? Based on the placement of Baja's fingerprint, those have got to be his shoes. It's a vegan blueberry muffin, just like it said on the package. Factor out the carbon, and the muffin that helped ignite the fire is identical to the ones we found in Baja's office. Almost pure acetone. No fragrances, no dye. Very few impurities at all. More volcanic minerals and acetone. The shoes tie Pete Baja to the spot just prior to the explosion. I think we may have enough to nail Baja for starting the fire. His shoes put him in the spa sometime after the acetone was dumped. He'd picked up quantities of both the accelerant and the spa mud. Okay, I think I have a pretty clear picture of what happened. Baja was laundering money, and when Portia confronted him about it, he panicked. Then he decided to rig the spa to explode. Portia probably showed up after Pete was gone. Doc Robbins said she had marijuana in her system, so she might not have noticed the acetone. While she was there burning to death, Baja was at her apartment looking for the record she was keeping. With what we have now, an arrest warrant won't be a problem. Let's go talk to Brass.
Good, you're all here.
What's going on, Captain Brass? What's so sensitive you couldn't discuss it over the phone?
We have a visitor. Miss Beatriz Salazar.
You serious? She's here?
The Queen of the Hive herself just walked in and asked to talk to the CSIs in charge of the Pedro Baja case.
Do you mind if I sit in on this one, Captain Brass?
Be my guest, you can even take my seat. I'll hang back and watch from the viewing room.